This is Matrix Lord 212, and I want to talk about fans' perception of Doctor Who, right? I'm going to talk about Whovians, and Whovians in particular that want Doctor Who canceled. They have pure hatred for the show. They are tweeting, they are making videos, they are making streams, they are making posts everywhere from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram to Threads to whatever social media platform will hear them. And they do not see past their choice. Let me explain. Let's just say you're a Whovian that does YouTube videos and streams and podcasts, and you're against Doctor Who now, and you want it canceled, you hate it. Anything that comes along that is against your emotions, you dismiss. This is what they're doing. They have such an emotionally charged hatred that they can't see anything else but their choice, their preference, their opinion. So if news comes out that shows Doctor Who in a positive manner, or that Doctor Who is surviving, or Doctor Who is doing good, they don't look at it. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to promote it because it questions their narrative of what their goal is. Now you may say, well, what is their goal? Well, there are some YouTubers out there. Their goal is to destroy Doctor Who, to get it canceled. Okay? So they're making videos. They have a whole campaign against it. Now, there's been some in the past that have had a huge campaign to try to destroy Doctor Who. They had the Rest in Peace Doctor Who since, 2017? But they failed every year. Yet they're trying one more year or 2 more years. They're doing it again. Nobody's biting, okay? My point is that maybe even the hatred and the negativity towards Doctor Who is making them money. Because we all know when we're scrolling through YouTube, you'll have that fancy thumbnail that you'll click on because you'll be like, oh my God, Doctor Who's canceled. You'll be like, really? I need to see that. And then it's not. It's just their opinion. And they'll have the, dramatic facial expressions on the Doctor or the characters. Like the one guy, Jay Talks. Oh, he had that Doctor Who, Russell T Davies was sacked. And he was the first person to do that. And everybody was like, he got a stir. Went viral. He got everybody's attention, but it was all complete bullshit. And it turned out he admitted he's not a Whovian. He doesn't know shit about Doctor Who or any of the workings towards it or anything that's going on. He's basically talking out of his ass. And his source sucks too. Because his source doesn't know shit either. Because how many times did you say Stargate's coming back? 50 million times. And it's not. So anyway, people don't see past their choice. They're not open-minded to other possibilities. So they're like, all the things that they do is erratic, not well thought through. They channeling the anger, the rage, and then doing the videos, and it's all not making sense. They don't see past the choice. They will never see past the choice. They'll get in a hiffy and pissed off when Doctor Who's on Christmas, and they're not going to understand why. And when Doctor Who's on Season 2, Disney Plus, they're not going to understand why. When next year there's going to be all these contracts signed with merchandise that's going to flood everywhere with Doctor Who They will not understand why. See, the thing is, the bad thing about Chibnall is that because he did that show, what the hell was the name of that show that he did with David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker? Well, anyway, I can't think of it right now. I'm sorry. He liked it low key. Even though he took the biggest science fiction show in history, he made it low key. He lowered everything about it. He had everything from security detail he raised because he didn't want anything to get out. He didn't want to go to Comic-Con. He did not want the Christmas special. And he destroyed everybody's attempt at making merchandise, where he limited them towards a certain narrative. If they were going to do merchandise, it was going to be under a her universe thing. So he tried to push the female agenda and exclude all the fans. And he alienated all the fans, Chibnall. Chibnall was the cause of this. He wanted his show to continue with as least ratings as possible so he wouldn't be out of a job, but he didn't want it to fail, but he didn't want it to succeed too much either because he didn't like the attention. He didn't like going to Comic-Con. He didn't like, everybody showing up at the filming and people putting photographs. He had all his legal people strike down Instagrams, strike down thing. If you leaked a photo of Doctor Who that you weren't part of his clique or his friends, you weren't allowed to do. But if you were friends of his and you were an Instagrammer or YouTuber, you were allowed. And I learned that firsthand. I learned when I showcased the Sonic Screwdriver, I never had my Instagram taken down. What would I do on Instagram to get it taken down? I got my Instagram taken down, that's for sure. So, he wanted it set in a way of the comfort zone, Chibnall, where it would be popular enough to exist, but not too popular where he can't handle it. He basically made everybody fucking fire Doctor Who, like all these toy companies, the Funko Pops that wanted all these toys in advance, and they wanted to do action figures, and he's like, nope. And they want to make all these action figures, nope. He refused everyone. He didn't want Doctor Who magazine to get the scoop, so he didn't care if Doctor Who magazine would have went under. He only promoted Doctor Who to people he liked, like Radio Times. There's a complete difference between him and RTD, but the point is that while Chibnall basically destroyed Doctor Who almost to cancellation, RTD is building the brand to where there's going to be all new merchandise, all new. He's basically saving Doctor Who magazine too because he's giving them all the scoopies. So he's recognizing and trying to strengthen the marketing, the merchandising, the money that Doctor Who can make beyond the show. Okay, so there is more to the show than the show, obviously. But people that are so mad don't see that. With Star Wars failing and Star Wars merchandise in decline, with the MCU failing because of all the failure movies at present time, the merchandise has declined. What could Disney make money from if their two main things are not making money? An outside source, Doctor Who. You throw the TARDIS in Disney parks, people start going a little crazy. Like, oh shit. You do a TARDIS attraction at Disney parks, you do a ride, maybe you do a thing of building a TARDIS and going in the TARDIS and all this stuff, or maybe you have monsters show up in the Disney parks that they will share money with the BBC, they will pay, whoever. They'll make the Daleks show up, they'll make whatever. They'll have merchandise everywhere in the Disney parks that they'll make the price high enough so BBC will make money and they'll make money and nobody loses money. So there'll be TARDISes in Disney parks. There'll be t-shirts. There'll be action figures. So next year you're going to see an influx of The merchandise is going to jump 1,000% between deals with Hot Topic and all these other retailers, because it's all going to be prepared for. So that way when season 2 airs, you're going to have, everybody's going to have a t-shirt. It's going to be ridiculous. And nobody sees that. Maybe it's because I was into that growing up, or where I worked, merchandise, or in general, I worked in different fields besides the medical field. I did, retail and stuff like that. So maybe I see what they don't. But if you think Doctor Who is losing money, you're sadly mistaken. And again, if the show was doing as bad as they said it was, but then the merchandise is on the upswing beyond belief, then it doesn't really matter, because they're making money. Let me give you an example, because I don't know how long this video is going to last, because my memory may be shot. But when the female Ghostbusters movie came out, they spent too much money to make it, right? And it didn't make what they wanted it to make, okay? Still made more money than some of these Ghostbusters movies, but the key thing that they made that you're not aware of is they made merchandise. They made different types of merchandise. They had different type of attractions in New York, like a virtual thing. They made tons of money off that, okay? They channeled that money that they made as a company towards the next Ghostbuster project, which is Afterlife, okay? Now, while the movies may not be making what they should, you don't see that the merchandise, that the money they're making from the merchandise deals and stuff like that will finance the next Ghostbusters. So it has, right? Frozen Empire. Even if Frozen Empire doesn't do astronomical numbers, the merchandise will carry it through to pay for the next Ghostbusters movie. Because you need to keep coming out with more movies, because you'll have different types of equipment they use, different type of ghosts, different type of merchandise. Maybe they'll wear a different outfit. Maybe they'll do whatever. And it will be a money-making thing. And it doesn't have to make $1 billion. If it makes money off merchandise, it's fine. And if you remember when Batman came out in 1989, Jack Nicholson had signed this weird deal that he would make majority of the money from the merchandise. And he would make money from the second one, even if he didn't appear, right? So when everything was said and done, he made like over $250 million. Because when I was a kid in high school, everybody bought a Batman shirt tied to the Michael Keaton movie. The whole entire school, my high school, 95% of the kids had Batman shirts. In Staten Island, it was in the newspaper. The lines were wrapped around the damn movie theaters building, like around. Everybody had a Batman shirt. Even if you weren't a Batman fan, people were buying Batman shirts because the movie was so good. And Michael Keaton was so good, and the Joker was so good. That money they made is so astronomical merchandising-wise. And the movie made money too, but it was so much a success. You really don't know. You could archive it somehow. You could probably look up all the things I'm talking about. You'll be amazed. So you look at Doctor Who from all the things it could bring in. I'm Disney Plus. You're coming to me. You want to be on my thing. Okay. If we're going to do your show, we're going to give money towards the episodes. We're going to make it bigger and better. We want to sell your merchandise. All right, we'll sell it for a higher price, but we're going to make a profit, and BBC's going to make a profit. Deal? Okay, we want a TARDIS attraction. We want a ride. We want t-shirts. We want this. We want that. This just started, right? So you don't put all your eggs in one basket with Doctor Who, right? You plant it in the ground, you water it every day, and you make it grow. Now, if the plant goes off on a tangent, you cut it, you fix it up, the plant, they are not going to cancel Doctor Who. They're not even going to look at the ratings on season 1. They plant the seeds. They start selling the merchandise in the coming months, leading to next year. They build it up themselves to where you got all new fans now being curious what Doctor Who is. Now, you got all new merchandise. You put out a Doctor Who video game in Dave & Buster's. Now, I learned from going to Dave & Buster's for Father's Day that all these franchises that I loved that I thought were gone are not gone. They have new incarnations in new arcades, and I was not aware of that because I wasn't going to the arcade. I didn't know there's a new Rampage game. I didn't know there's a new Ghostbusters game. I didn't know there's a Godzilla virtual reality game. These things are making tons of money and building on the brand and adding to the brand and the franchise. So what do you do next from Disney? You put out a Sutekh game where Unit battles Sutekh, the Doctor battles Sutekh, all this stuff. Ridiculous. It will be ridiculous. Besides new action figures, besides new mugs, besides new clothing, besides... I even seen one time there was a pet store that had a TARDIS that you put in a fish tank. Okay? You're talking about making money every which way from Doctor Who? I mean, I have a Doctor Who spatula, a Doctor Who apple peeler. I mean, the amount of stuff I have, a Doctor Who tea kettle. I have all these different things I bought because I'm like, oh, there's a TARDIS. You don't know how much money they're making. Everybody will have Doctor Who merchandise. It could be a towel. You don't know what's coming. And I'm telling you what's coming. And I'm feeling it's my duty as a newscaster for Doctor Who to tell you what's coming. Doctor Who merchandise will be flooding all stores very soon. And by the time Christmas comes and after, when the new season starts of Doctor Who, there will be merchandise everywhere. And Doctor Who will be magnified, and the ratings will be better. And then they'll look at that, and they'll be like, but they won't tell you already that they already paid for season 3 because they don't need to deal with Whovians. It's one thing, they're picking their battles, Disney. They are battling Star Wars fans. They're getting heat for that. They're battling MCU fans. Fans are pissed off, too, that the movie's been sucking. They're like, how could you put out Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty if everything leading up to it sucks? That's the problem. But anyway, I mean, Disney's already planning beyond Secret Wars that they're going to start rebuilding their brands. Thor 5, Black Panther 3. Do it before Secret Wars. But no. Okay. But anyway, they're going to expand the Doctor Who brand, and Doctor Who's going to be a success like you wouldn't believe. Season 3 is going to show up at Disney Plus, and people are going to be not questioning why. They're going to be like, why is this? They are going to question why. They're not going to understand why. It's because they are planning this out. Everything has a plan. Every time has a place. The Doctor Who is secure, and Season 3's a go. Spinoffs a go. Christmas specials a go. Don't worry, Doctor Who is safe. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Take care. Bye for now.